What is going on with Ilia Topuria? 2 weeks ago, we find out he's no longer the featherweight champion and he's moving up to 155. And then we all assume it's going to be against Islam. But then Dana White says, it may not be against Islam. We haven't heard anything new since. You're his guy. I remember your brother calling me and you calling me up saying, we got the guy. We got the next Conor. We got the guy from Spain. I remember this before he even came into the UFC. And so tell me, what is happening?
Well, I still think that he's the next guy. I think he is the next Conor. I think
he's there.
You know what I mean? That's kind of part of what he's doing. You come into the UFC, you get to a title fight within 6 fights. You go beat arguably the greatest featherweight to ever fight at featherweight. And then, by the way, all respect to Volkanovski because he was a hell of a champion, and he went up and fought at 155. And Ilia challenged him, knocked him out. No one at 45 had ever done that to him, if I'm not mistaken. Then you go fight Max Holloway, who no one's ever done that to him, ever, right? Ever, no matter who it is, at any weight class, never knocked him out, or even, I think, am I right when I say not even,
yes,
didn't even knock him down? Is that accurate? No one ever knocked Max out? Okay. So then he knocks him out. And the truth is that the weight cut is hard for him. And it was, look, Ariel, when you've been in this business for as long as we've been in it, right, you kind of learn certain things. And the longevity of fighters, especially at the highest level, when you talk about being a champion, you're talking about a guy who has to fight the Volkanovskis, you know what I mean, the Charleses, the Oliveras, the Islams, the Maxes. You're talking about fighting the best guys in the world. So if you're cutting all that weight, and what you're basically also doing is taking years off your fighting life. And so this guy's looking at longevity. He's looking at the fact that it's almost a 50-pound cut every time. It's time to move up to 155. I'm confident that Islam will accept it. I'm confident that we'll be fighting for that belt, but it's really not on us. It's on them. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where we're at with it, if that makes sense.
Is it up to Islam at this point? Meaning, does the UFC agree with him fighting for the belt in his first fight at 155 now?
I mean, look, let me ask you this question. You've known me now for 20. I've been in this for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Do you really think that we make moves without trying to you know me? Yeah. I'm trying to be ahead of it when it's time to do something, and we don't just jump from here to there without having the conversations and certain things. So no one told us that we couldn't fight for the title.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, no one has said that you're not fighting for the title. So that I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there out of respect to everybody else on the other side and what they're trying to do or not do. You know what I mean? But nothing has been said. No one's told me, no, this is not happening. Let me just put it to you like that.
Got it. Okay? Yeah. Well, I said. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's no chance Ilia Topuria is vacating his belt without a title fight in his next fight.
Well, I don't know if it even makes sense for them as a promotion to allow him to fight anybody else when he's a champion. And if we're being honest, this is probably the biggest fight you can make right now outside of Bones versus Aspinall. So I don't know if there's another fight out there that's bigger than this fight, unless there's something that I'm not aware of. Ariel, you'd know better than me. You know what I'm saying? But this is the biggest fight you can make. And then I think here's what the fear is for a lot of people is that what if he does beat Islam, right? Then you're talking about this is the biggest star in the sport at that point in a long, long time. You know what I mean? In a long, long time. And I don't mean like any of these other guys aren't stars, but I'm talking about this guy then will start to reach that stratosphere that Conor got to, especially if he wins by KO. Because this guy's got that Mike Tyson-esque thing to him. And if he continues to fight this way, I just don't know how we're not looking at, you know what I mean, the same type of thing as Conor McGregor.
Funny you mention Bones versus Aspinall. Dana White was on First Take today, and he was asked about that fight, when we will see Jon. And he said this summer. Your thoughts?
Maybe. I don't know. You got to talk to Abraham about that one. I'm going to defer to Abe.
Come on. I know you're back. You're back there, dude.
Listen, no. Abe's actually right here in front of me.
Hey, bring him on.
No. Abe's
come on, Abe.
No.
I've never known you to be shy.
Ariel, listen to me. Let's just put it to you like this, right? We sit in negotiations all day long and we talk about things all day long, right? And I think that everybody that's involved in anything to do with any of this stuff wants all these fights to happen, right? I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Do you think it happens?
I think that it depends on certain things and whether or not everybody want to make those certain things happen. And if the answer to everybody else is yes, those certain things happen, then yes, the fight will happen. That's all I'll say to that. I'll just leave it at that, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to, you know what I mean? You know how this is. They get upset when you start talking about it, and I'd rather just leave it
Sure.
alone as opposed to adding fire to it. Because if I mess around and say the wrong thing, then the wrong person takes it the wrong
You're
way.
not
Next
scared.
thing you know, nah, you know me. You know I'm not scared, but I'm not. But you want it to happen, right? So I don't want to mess anything
Sure,
up. I don't
sure.
want to go into the media and discuss anything that I don't need to discuss. That's all I'm saying.
In other
You know what I
words,
mean?
you got to pay the cost to see the boss.
Who's the boss?
Bones.
He is the boss.
That's right.
He is the boss. I mean, listen, let me tell you something. I gotta give him a lot of credit too, because you know what I mean. We've known Bones since he was 20 years old,
Yeah.
and man, the guy that he's become now is completely different than the guy he was when he was 20 years old. You know what I mean? So
In
I
what
can just
way?
tell you, I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of the position that he takes, the stances he takes, the way that he conducts his business, and the way that he operates. It's been a pleasure to watch. Been a pleasure to be a part of. It's been a pleasure to see. So I can't, you know what I mean? I can't say anything other than he's the best in the world. I take it personal when people don't have him one in the pound for pound rankings. I think that while he's active as a fighter, he should be number one. I think, out of respect to what he's done, he has had the toughest strength of schedule that I think anybody in the history of the sport has had, especially as a champion. He's had the longevity as a champion that no one else has had. And I think whenever he's active, whether that means once a year or twice a year, he should be considered the number one fighter in the world, pound for pound. No disrespect to anybody else. I think all the guys that get that type of recognition deserve it. You know what I mean? They're good fighters in their own rank. But man, I don't know how anyone can tell me that guy is not only the greatest of all time, but the number one fighter pound for pound in the world.
Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.